tongue-in-cheek this morning because I don't know whether or not you guys can see and hear me out there, but we seem to be having some difficulty with Facebook this morning. For whatever reason, we have just been having a really rotten time getting onto the platform, and I'm hoping that is going to resolve itself before very long. Hang on a sec, yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm seeing this there right now. So I guess we are on. I see Margaret's on there. Johnny is on there. Peter Bishop's on there. So let's keep our pinkies crossed, okay? Good morning and welcome to today's edition of Sundays with George Grant. Looking at the colors, man, take a look at the colors. Today, I expect that you're going to be seeing a sea of colors in here this morning because we do have the folks from Co-op Bank coming in here to talk about their Pump Up Family Fun Walk, and I expect that everybody is going to be wearing their Fun Walk t-shirts. So, hence the reason they dropped mine off about an hour or so ago. Yellow. Okay, let's take a look at the rundown. As always, we get started with a reading from the Holy Scriptures. And as far as the editorials are concerned this week, we do have two. The Grenada Advocate, which is captioned, Small States Treat Small States Fairly. Yeah, the Advocate is asking that, we in the tiny islands here of the Caribbean be treated fairly. The New today is captioned, Nothing to Show. Hang in, you're going to have to wait a few minutes to find out what that one's all about. Then, as far as interviews are concerned, as I mentioned, we've got the Pump It Up family coming in here this morning to talk about their family fun walk, which is coming your way again this year. And I do, quite a contingent this morning. I do expect Richard Duncan, who is the managing director of the Grenada Co-Operative Bank. He's going to be joined by Dr. Sonia Nixon, senior medical officer for chronic diseases. They are going to be joined by Phillip Gittens, operations manager, Antillean Group. Clint Roberts, the financial controller down at Jonas, Browne and Hubbard, will be here. James Pitt, the country manager for Float Grenada. These are people who are sponsoring the walk again this year, and they're going to be joining us this morning. That's the first of the interviews you're going to be hearing this morning. In addition to that, you may have heard of something which is being labeled as 12 degrees north, 61 degrees west Grenada Film Festival. Just in case you're not familiar with 12 degrees north, 61 degrees west, those are the coordinates, geographic coordinates for Grenada, right here in St. George. And there's a lady by the name of Meschida, Phillip. She's a filmmaker and festival founder. She's the person putting this whole thing together. She's going to come in here to tell us all about that. Now, as far as our main feature is concerned, I'd like you to meet some of Grenada's future. Yeah. The folks of Woke. Woke's a program we started 5 weeks ago here on Grenada Broadcast. And it's a program where we provide a platform for Grenada's youth to vent, if you will, share their dreams and aspirations, and make suggestions regarding the governance of this country. And when they came in this past Thursday, by the way, the program's aired on Thursday afternoons live here on Facebook and subsequently on YouTube, as well as on Grenada Broadcast live at 4 o'clock. Augustine Lewis, who's a youth activist, he was joined by Joel Greenidge, another youth activist, and I thought that program was so interesting, I'm going to share it with you this morning. Okay? Let me take a quick look up there and see who they. Margaret is saying, good morning, Facebook is down in some parts of the world. Thank you, Margaret. I knew that our internet was working just fine, but boy, did I have a hell of a time getting on to Facebook this morning. Since about 20 after 8, I've been trying to get on, and it seems like we got on just in the nick of time, about 3 minutes before 9 o'clock. So thank you, Margaret, for that heads up. Kathleen Thomas is saying good morning from Toronto. Fitzroy Adams, happy to be here for another Sunday morning class, and he thanks God for life. Margaret says it was down here in New York, just came back up in my neck of the world. Hey, and Margaret, I actually tried phoning you to find out, I tried WhatsApping you to find out, whoa, couldn't reach you either. But I know that our internet down here this morning is just absolutely fine. Clyde Baker is there, Catherine Edwards is there, Cheryl Calise Stagg, Charles Norma, Peter Bishop is saying good morning from Long Island, and Richard hello Snakey, Richard St. Bernard is also saying good morning. Cheryl Fagg says good morning Gigi, and happy Palm Sunday, let's not forget that. Procession went down here just a short while ago. Hazel Ferguson is saying good morning from the U.S. Virgin Islands and a happy Sunday to everyone. Grand's Auto Body is there as well. Charles Norman says good morning to you, George and classmates. Eagerly waiting. What's that? Okay. Richard St. Bernard and saying congratulations to Lewis Hamilton on his victory. Hey, you and my brother are very happy, I bet. Margaret says it was down here in New York, just came back up. Oh, hold on, yeah, we saw that one already. Augustine Lewis is with us. Penny Crawley, hello Penny, and Tiana Lashley is also on now. Meschida Phillip is also with us, good to see you guys. Ernesto Jose, good morning principal and families, welcome to Education Sunday. By the way, Mr. GG, that's a bright yellow. Meschida saying good morning, Mickman Alexander, and Augustine Lewis. George, I trust that all is well with you. Yeah, everything's well with me, but be on guard. So if Facebook goes kaput this morning, hey, don't blame George, don't blame Digicel, don't blame GRENADA'S, okay? Facebook, as you heard from Margaret's having problems, and it's not just here, in New York as well, and apparently other parts of the world. Pilgrims. I'm rushing along this morning because we got a lot of ground to cover. Take a break, come on back.
Boy, you, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up.
I'm coming. Karim, what you doing?
Fly my kite.
Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good.
Because mommy say, kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Kite threads conduct electricity. Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GRENADA'S. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GRENADA'S, energizing our Grenada.
Start the stride to a healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carriacou on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis courts, and in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton Home.
Welcome home.
Juve
Souffle chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
So here we go, pilgrims, into this week's edition of The Buzz, and we begin with a reading from the Holy Scriptures. In the last days, God says, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my Spirit in those days, and they will prophesy. I will show wonders in the heavens above, and signs on the earth below. The blood and fire and billows of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and glorious day of the Lord. And everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. That reading, by the way, came to you from the book of Acts, chapter 2, verses 17 to 21. I didn't see anything there that said Facebook's going to be down. Just kidding. Little Angel has a very interesting submission to us this week. I'm looking forward to sharing this with you, so here goes. She says, fact-checking, like that witnessed in the American media in recent times, seems evident in Grenada, and may be an indication that Grenadians are interested in seeking the truth. No one should lie to a nation, particularly those in leadership positions, since it can amount to an abuse of power. It is often said that people lie for preservation and acceptance. Yeah. But considering the damages that can result, it may be wiser not to lie. Lies can betray a country. They can threaten security and undermine democracy. Deceiving a nation is a serious matter and can cost billions in some cases. Utterances made by 2 Grenadian ministers within the past week proved to be misleading when subsequent contradicting statements were made in public, which proved them wrong. Misleading and inaccurate statements have been directed at Grenadians before, and the only way to stop them is for our people to stand up against them and demand better from those in authority. In her talk on how to spot a lie, Pamela Mayer said, "A lie has no power whatsoever by its utterance. Its power emerges when someone else agrees to believe the lie." Unquote. Grenadians should never believe those who tell lies and must make that clear to them. But before standing up against lies, they must first be spotted. Fact-checking is one way of spotting a lie. Providing unnecessary details when asked a question. Never answering the question. Repeating it. Or diverting attention to another topic are some of the verbal cues that an individual might be lying. Lying is hard work. It is stressful and can cause nervousness, increases in heart rates and blood pressure. But despite this, it is amazing how easily some people lie. Could it be that they have been lying so often that they have perfected the art? Lying does no good for either the individual telling the lie or those hearing it, especially when he or she is found out. Then there is guilt, a lack of trust, and a need for damage control. Anyone found lying owes an apology to those they lied to. And in the two cases in question, apologies are due to the Grenadian people from the Minister of Education and the Minister of Health. The integrity of individuals and the offices they hold are undermined when they tell lies. And it is amazing how honesty is never the first choice. It is high time that honesty and telling the truth form an integral part of the governance structure within Grenada, Carriacou, and Pennymartinique. GRENADABROADCAST.com's mantra, the quest for good governance, cannot be overemphasized. But for it to materialize, it must be demanded by all Grenadians. Signed, Little Angel. Okie dokie, pilgrims. There you go. Back to back to Facebook here for a little bit. Oh boy, you guys are busy this morning. Oswald Lewis is with us, so is Edith Phillip. Ronnie Gittens, Lydia James. Lydia says good morning and wishing you a happy Sunday. And Penny Crawley says good morning, Gigi, and all from a sunny and trying to be warmer. Salts of Europe. Starting to warm up, girl, good for you. Anthony the Riggs is there with us as well. Let's see. Ernesto says the audio sounds far away. I'm right here. Hello. I'm almost shouting, Ernesto. I'm not sure quite why it sounds far. Let me play with something here for just a wee bit, and I hope, Ernesto, yeah, maybe you had a point there. Thanks a lot. Michelle Toussaint Green is saying good morning from Windsor, Ontario. The sound is muffled. Well, not anymore, I hope. Anthony DeReg says, hi, Margaret. I got a notification. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, Mags. I got that notification, too. Happy birthday. We'll talk. Oh, yeah, hold on a sec here. Manel Toussaint Green says, good morning from Windsor. Yeah. Margaret says, yeah, Ernesto, he sounds like he's in an echo chamber. Well, I don't think that's the case anymore. I hope we just resolve that issue. It might have been in my rush here dealing with Facebook. Forgot to punch a few buttons there. Sorry about that. Key Roberts is with us, and so is Adrian Thomas. Linda James is sending blessings for many more birthdays, and that's to Margaret. George, there's an echo. Sounds like you're in a huge empty building. Not anymore, Lydia. Yeah, Margaret says it's fixed now. Thanks a lot, Max. Anthony DeRig says, George, Facebook is going crazy today. Yeah, Anthony, boy, you're telling us. Benedict says it's also better. Audio great now, Mr. G. Yeah. Georgie had the wrong mic turned on there. Anyhow, sorry about that, guys. Sandra Tellisford sounds great now. Peter Bishop says it's better. Lynette Qualis is with us. Kathleen Thomas is saying it's better as well. Bernard Gilbert, thumbs up. Okay, folks, moving right along. Another break here, and then we'll come back with the editorials.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Conveniently located in the Grandin Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Greenidge will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep,
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Boy, everybody's wishing Mags a happy birthday this morning, and she deserves it, girl. I could imagine what a feast you're going to be having today. Maybe right through until Thursday's McWe Chat. Eh? Okay, we've also been joined by Jackie O. She says it's overcast and drizzling in Washington. I hope it clears up, Jackie O. Let's now turn to the first of our editorials. And this one comes to you from the Grenada Advocate. It is captioned, Treat Small States Fairly. It is becoming increasingly clear that far from going away, the struggle and the challenges that small developing countries continue to face are broadening. There is no letting up to the assault, and big countries must recognize the realities of smaller states and give them the necessary support to harness their economic endeavors. But what do we have? Small states have been graduated, that is, prevented from accessing concessionary World Bank financing because some of them have high per capita incomes. At the World Trade Organization, the big countries continue to erect trade barriers to the imports from small developing countries, while insisting, however, that these microstates open their markets to exports from the big countries. This approach to trade policy making has dogged the WTO for several years after its emergence in 1993. On top of this, and just recently, the European Union took a decision to blacklist a number of small countries which have thriving international business sectors. That action stemmed from what the EU indicated was a lack of cooperation on the part of the small countries to new rules on taxation governing their offshore businesses. That the EU's action coincides with the same template which the Organization for Economic Cooperation has been operating on in its relations with small countries, emphasizes what the stakes are in this type of business. Not so long ago, this region heard that multilateralism was gradually giving way to bilateralism, all of which hold significant implications for small countries. If countries are unable to get their way in the multilateral negotiations, like what takes place within the WTO, then they will be more inclined to go after them when conducting bilateral relations with individual trading and business partners. The global economy consists of both large and small countries. The category of small countries include a subgroup that is classified as small and vulnerable economies, or SVEs, on the basis of their small economic size, openness, and being prone to economic and non-economic shocks, and to disasters like hurricanes and earthquakes. Some of the specialized agencies within the United Nations system have argued a convincing case for these SVEs to be given special attention and treatment. This is based on the premise that they lack the resources, both physical and natural, to have competitive economies and to have industries which one normally associates with the industrialized nations. Hence, many of them have turned to offshore financial services as an economic option. Small states want to get on with the job of developing their economies, providing for their people, and where necessary, trade surplus production with the rest of the world. Both the OECD and the EU, whose membership intertwined, are fully aware of these things. So, rather than trying to smash the offshore sectors that small countries are promoting as one of their economic options, they should be more accommodating to these states who, from all indications, are conforming to the regulatory requirements put on the table. Since 2000, the OECD began a campaign against these countries and continue to do so periodically. They have to respect the rights of all nations for a better life for their people, instead of trying to carve out everything for themselves. This amounts to bullying on the part of big countries. That, Pilgrims, was your editorial, or is your editorial, which appeared in Wednesday's edition of the Grenada Advocate. Jackie O and Peter are talking. Hold on. Yeah. Also been joined by Rodney Wade. Richard, hello, Richard. Richard, you're supposed to be here in 14 minutes from now. Richard Duncan's on there. So is Lawrence Kruthoff. Good to see you, Lawrence. Folks, another little break here. And we'll come back with the new today.
Boyo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up. I'm coming. Karim, what you doing? Fly my kite. Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy. Why not? The wind good. Because mommy say, kite threads conduct electricity. Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, you can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked. Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture. Yeah, that makes sense. Kite threads conduct electricity.
Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GRENADA'S. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GRENADA'S, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Start the stride to a healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carriacou on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis courts, and in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton home.
Welcome home.
Well, folks, you guys have been talking about my yellow shirt this morning. If you think you see yellow, you ain't seen nothing yet, man. The contingent has begun arriving for the Pump It Up Fun Walk, and we'll get to them after the editorial from the New today. So here goes. It is captioned, "Nothing to Show." It is unfortunate that a foreign chef has to bring back on the national agenda for discussion the serious lack of support by government to the key agriculture sector on the island. Okay? Remember, this editorial comes to you from the New today. He is associated with the newly opened Silver Sands Resort and called for more support from government to the dwindling agriculture sector to keep alive the burning desire of many to see a true marriage between tourism and agriculture for real and serious development of the economy. The chef lamented the fact that hotels are forced to contribute to the rising food import bill, as they often have no choice but to purchase items from overseas to satisfy guests in the face of shortages on the local market. He said that Grenada needs to invest heavily in systems that can produce a reliable supply of local produce through green and hot houses to deal with variations in weather conditions. It cannot be disputed that the 2 past governments, which took strong progressive steps in agriculture over the years, were the Grenada United Labour Party administration of the father of independence, Sir Eric Matthew Gerry, and the 1979-1983 People's Revolutionary Government of executed leader Maurice Bishop. The late educator George Browne also had a passion for agriculture when he served in the 1990 to 1995 Congress government of Sir Nicholas Brathwaite. However, the same cannot be said of the new National Party of Dr. Keith Mitchell, who has been given the longest run as Prime Minister since independence in 1974. Prime Minister has paid nothing but lip service to agriculture, and he seemingly prefers to go after short-term projects and initiatives that can bring quick and ready cash, like passport selling and informatics, like call centers. The NNP, as a regime, has never pursued any meaningful program that is based on long-term and sustained growth of the agriculture sector. The Mitchell-led government made a very bad decision to give a government-owned farm to a group of revolutionaries who spent many years incarcerated at the Richmond Hill prison for the murder of Prime Minister Bishop in October of 1983. The revolutionaries had no known training in agriculture, but were given a prime government estate to run and develop into a worthwhile venture. Today, there are reports that the farm has been abandoned and taken over by an individual known to be associated with the jab-jab entertainment industry. And all the crops on the estate are being destroyed by roaming animals, including cows. The Marketing and National Importing Board, a creature of the revolutionary government, has become a dismal failure with bad management in place that lacked the vision to provide the platform for farmers to use as an outlet for their produce over the years. Government has clearly fallen short when it came to putting in place systems and corrective measures to seriously gel agriculture with tourism to develop a strong economy for the island. Agriculture has gotten its fair share of the pie, has not gotten its fair share of the pie from the NNP government when it comes to allocation of funds to develop and grow the sector. Prime Minister Mitchell has chosen information technology over agriculture, and the result has been nothing short of disastrous for the country. A lot of hype was made over the CKLN program involving Ken Sylvester, a Grenadian living in Jamaica, and millions were accumulated through the program. The Caribbean Knowledge and Learning Network was being promoted as an intergovernment agency of the Caribbean community, CARICOM, responsible for developing and managing a high-capacity broadband fiber optic network called CaribNet, connecting all CARICOM member states. The CKLN agency was first proposed in 2002 at a meeting between the 7 prime ministers of the Eastern Caribbean states and Barbados, who met with the then president of the World Bank and established the body in 2004 as an institution of CARICOM under the authority of Article 21 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. The CKLN was supposed to do, among other things, the following: allow participating learning institutions to both offer and receive distance learning courses and other online services for the benefit of students in the region. Provide a Caribbean-wide satellite network that would connect all tertiary institutions in the region wishing to join the network and provide access to other global networks and knowledge base. And provide wireless network, Wi-Fi, for each college campus. Millions came in through this initiative. Where is CKLN today? And what has it done to improve the information technology platform in Grenada? As lead Prime Minister in the Caribbean for Science and Technology, Dr. Mitchell attempted to mobilize the whole of Grenada and the rest of the Caribbean around CKLN. And today, no one even hears the name CKLN mentioned anymore. It seems to have been a dismal failure, despite the region getting millions of dollars to spend on it. The Mitchell government did not spend one single dime from the millions generated through CKLN on trying to create a marriage between agriculture and technology for the future development of the country. The CKLN provided an opportunity to purchase chainsaws and weed eaters to clean up the whole country and replace such primitive tools as cutlasses and forks with modern technology to booster agriculture. For instance, a portion of the CKLN funds could have been used to introduce technology to monitor the farms and help reduce increasing incidences of radial larceny that has been a major source of concern for farmers over the years. No one should be surprised that the drum keeps beating and nothing has really been done to seriously and meaningfully address the marriage of agriculture and tourism to help grapple with the annual rising food import bill. That, Pilgrims, is your editorial, which appeared in this past week's edition of the New Today. Michael Alexander joined us on Facebook, Nelka Lindsay, Ryan Jaban. Boy, you guys are a little too busy out there for me this morning. Thanks for chiming in. It is now 9:42, I think it is. Yeah, coming up on 9:43. And another one of the team members has arrived, Mr. Richard Duncan. And in just a wee bit, we're going to get to a little conversation about the upcoming Pump It Up Fun Walk. So hang in there, Pilgrims, and we shall continue with thee in just a wee bit.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family, we cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Conveniently located in the GRENADA'S Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair GRENADA'S will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Start the stride to a healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carriacou on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis courts, and in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton home.
Welcome home.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate, Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Boy, yo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up. I'm coming. Karim, what you doing? Fly my kite. Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy.
Why not? The wind good?
Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kite threads conduct electricity. Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GRENADA'S. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GRENADA'S, energizing our Grenada.
Alrighty, folks, we are back. Yes, sirree. And time to get started. We've got 4 of the 5 persons who are scheduled to be with us this morning. So far, the only person missing is Dr. Sonia Nixon, who's the Senior Medical Officer for Chronic Diseases. Sitting here, see that gentleman? Familiar face. He's been with us time and time and time again. Look at that man. That's the Managing Director, Pilgrims, of the Grenada Co-Operative Bank. I guess he's Mr. Pump It Up. You know, these guys have been dishing out T-shirts about 8 o'clock this morning. Somebody phoned me to say, George, I'm at your door and I have a T-shirt for you. And I thought, you're at my door and you have a T-shirt for me? Is this election time or what? I thought it was only election time that T-shirts were given out. Well, not really. Richard, good morning. And it is nice to see you and your cast. We'll get to the other cast members in just a wee bit. But thanks for coming back. It seems like I only see you at this time of the year, right? Pump it up time, Richard.
Good morning, George, and good morning to the listening and viewing public. Indeed, Pump It Up is the bank's biggest corporate social responsibility outreach program. And as the managing director of the bank, I think it is my duty to represent, along with my other team members, the bank's biggest activity.
Now we look forward to that every year, man. You do a better
Indeed.
job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Now, this started back in what, 2009?
That's correct. 2009 was our first walk.
And it's come a long way, Richard. Let's do a little chronology of 2009, 2019.
Well, in 2009, we launched our Healthier Lifestyle program, George. And the whole idea behind it was to have a family fun event as one of the pillars of that Healthier Lifestyle program. And it has grown from strength to strength. The strategy behind it really is to encourage people to lead healthier lives. We chose walking as the primary exercise simply because most people can do it. It is easy, it does not cost much, and it is highly beneficial in terms of cardiovascular health and stuff like that. And we also twinned it with the fact that the bank at the time, and still does, give $1 for each mile walked per participant. And that $1 per mile walk per participant went to a charitable, health-related non-profit organization.
Don't go too fast on that, because this is important. You're saying you give $1 per mile per participant, so you got 4,000 people participating. Mm-hmm. Let's say the distance from GRENADA'S to Queen's Park is 4
right.
miles.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5.
Yeah, $16,000 would go to that charitable non-profit organization. So over the years, we have contributed to the Grenada Heart Foundation, we have given to the Kidney Foundation, to the Diabetes Association of Grenada, the Sickle Cell, Lupus, and the Cancer Society, and the Pink Ribbon Society. So those 7 health-related charities have benefited from the program. The work has grown from strength to strength. The brand is well established, and in 2016 we took the decision that we can tweak further, and instead of giving to different charitable organizations each year, we will embark on a significant, if you may say, game-changing project, as it were. And we chose the re-establishment of the Carlton Home, which, as we all know, it's a rehabilitative center for substance abusers that has been decommissioned in large part since Hurricane Ivan. So since 2016, we have been on that path. The key thing is that we realized that trying to make a meaningful contribution was heavy lifting for the bank alone. So in 2017, we reached out to Co-Operative Grenada for their support. And I want to place on record our deep appreciation for Flo through the country manager, Mr. Pitt, who has come on board very strongly, very convincingly, to Jonas, Browne, and Hubbard, who also came on very strongly, very convincingly through Mr. Alan Brzezinski, who, though he's not there, the company's commitment and involvement remains. And of course, Co-op Bank. So we are the 3 initial benefactors, as it were. And since then, others have come on board.
We're going to meet these individuals in just a wee bit.
Correct.
We got 3 of them sitting here with us. But before we move on to them, let me ask you this. You know, when you started this in 2009, about how many runners did you have?
How many participants?
Participants,
yeah. We had about between 4 and 5. Right? I think 2010 there was a big surge. And what we came to realize is that for some people, they would want to register, but they want to be enamored by a lively, bright, effervescent color. So there are years when the numbers might fluctuate at 100, 200. I don't like the color. But that's not the issue. Okay. The issue is keeping healthy, giving back to the community, and making a contribution to your country.
So last year, how many people did you have?
Last year that was our 10th anniversary, we had close to 6,000 people walking.
And that includes Carriacou?
And Grenada. Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
And last weekend you did Carriacou?
We did Carriacou last weekend. We had 720 persons registered, and just about 50 less than that actually walked, based on the count that we had.
Okay, all right. All right, Richard, I want to talk about the logistics of the walk, but we'll get to that in just a wee bit. I want to bring in here Phillip and James. See these 2 guys? Look at them. See what I mean? Everybody's t-shirted this morning. When is this event? Next weekend?
The 28th.
28th, okay. And everybody's in here except Mr. Pitt. Everybody's in here wearing shorts this morning, like they're ready to get out of the studio and go on. Let's pump it up. Let me start with you, James. He mentioned that you have been, why don't you put on the headset? Okay, if you want to hold the mic, it's fine. Okay, hold the mic. He mentioned that you guys have become a major sponsor of this. Why the heck? What makes you get involved with this? Companies like you get involved in stuff that can make money?
Yeah. Good morning, George, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers this morning. Flo has had a rich history in terms of its commitment to corporate social responsibility. And when Richard reached out to us a few years ago, there was nothing, we didn't hesitate, to be quite honest. We recognized the magnitude of some of the social problems we have, and one of them is substance abuse and alcohol abuse. And we really, in true keeping to a commitment to what we do to outside of telecoms to benefit Grenada, with a very storied history in that space, we really didn't hesitate and just said, hey, Richard, we're on board. And the rest is history. It was clearly outlined that a key part of the initiative was the commitment to reinstituting and rebuilding the Carlton Home. And I don't think it's any secret to any Grenadian that we do have an alcohol abuse problem that we probably need to have better controls over and better rehabilitation efforts to improve our society, and that's what we're about. So it was our commitment to build connecting communities and transforming lives, and what better way to help what is not just a social challenge but a health challenge in our country. So it was easy for us.
It's interesting to hear that, because just this past week I had somebody sitting in one of these chairs here, and the person mentioned to me that, you know, you hear a lot of talk about the kids using drugs and therefore needing rehabilitation. But he said to me, George, you might be very surprised to find out that the drug of choice is still alcohol. Huh? Are you aware of that?
Well, I don't know if it's a drug of choice. I'm not sure if I'm the authority in measuring how what. But it's illegal. It's legal.
Yeah.
So that's one of, so it will always be more accessible to, and I'm not, people consume, most things is about the moderation and who uses it and what age they get introduced to it, etc., etc. So, you know, when Dr. Nixon gets here, I'm sure she's going to have more of the details around that, but we do recognize it is a social problem. It is a country problem, so and probably a regional problem if we look beyond. Because anything in excess usually becomes a problem, and in Grenada, alcohol is one of the challenges. Alcohol abuse appears to be a challenge that we have.
So getting this rehabilitation center up and running again is going to be a major boon to us, at least from helping the problem. But we still, you know, before we have the problem, Richard, we really need to try and avoid the problem in the first place, don't we? And I don't think you'll ever be able to cut out drinking. Forget it. Let's not kid ourselves, Richard. But maybe more responsible drinking, which might mean a little less drinking.
Well, no, George, the reality is that there has to be a national and concerted effort. And as James said, we are not the experts, and I'm sure that the Ministry of Health has strategies and programs, in the pipeline, because the rehabilitation is when the problem becomes a problem, so to speak. But prior to that, there are things that can be done, and I'm sure the Ministry of Health would be on top of the game as far as that is concerned.
And the poor Ministry of Health, they have limited resources, but then they have to cope with this issue as well.
But no, that is so, and that is why programs like this, Pump It Up, and the other element of our Healthier Lifestyle program is so important. And this morning I was reflecting on two things when it comes to health. The national health insurance that we are embarking upon has to see healthier lifestyle, or someone has to see healthier lifestyles as key to the sustainability of that program. Because the healthier population is, the less dependent they will be on national health insurance, especially in respect of chronic diseases that can be avoided. Secondly, the national insurance age that has been extended. The healthier people are in the younger years and into older years, to me, the more productive they will be in the latter years. So if you're extending people's stay on the job, you don't want a percentage of your population between 60 and 65 to be ill and off the job ever so often. So we have to hinge everything together to make sure that as a country we progress and everyone benefits as a result of these changes.
There's a note here on Facebook before I get back to James and Son. It says, this is Ryan Jabon. Ryan, by the way, is a retired nurse in Orlando, Florida. And he says, love the corporate and social responsibility of companies in Grenada. Their perspective, especially to the substance use disorder in Grenada. I'm sure you can't do it enough, Richard. You have a bunch of people in here this morning who have rallied to your cause, and they're supporting a good cause. Let me turn to get back to James here for a minute. James, as somebody who's come on board, I want you to spend some time now talking to other people, corporate sponsors like yourself, who may still be hanging in the wings, well, one of these days, talk to them about reasons why they should become involved. Shoot from the heart.
Well, I mean, we have a privilege of serving Grenada, of providing Grenada with telecom services and telecoms-related services. And the appeal is really to other businesses who have the privilege of serving or providing service to Grenada. Mm-hmm. We see it as part of, it's when our country wins, when our society gets healthier, it's better for all, okay? And I think we really at Flow, and we encourage our other corporate partners to, how do we get involved to make the place that we honor to provide service to better? And I think it's not just from a profit and loss standpoint, but from how do we make our societies better? Because what we do is important, and how we treat our public and our customers is equally important. Actually, it's more important because it will help what we do, right? And by and large, it's there's strong correlation in how our brands are perceived and how our customer sees us, and how we make the place that we make this more and more a paradise. That's really, and we feel that way. We provide telecoms in paradise.
James, let me use local parlance. How do we make the bed that we lie in? Because we have to live here.
Yeah. This is our country, and I think all of corporate Grenada should become involved. We don't dictate how we do, but I think it is important for us as leaders in business to take that as a serious responsibility for our country.
All right. Let's now turn to this young man who's been sitting here very quietly. The last time I saw this young man was at a little function they had down at GRENADA'S, where he was trying to tell you, well, you don't have to come to the supermarket anymore. You can sit at home and order, pull out your credit card, and we will deliver up to 3 miles away from. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Grant. Good morning.
This is Mr. Clint Roberts, by the way. This is the bag man, the money man at Hubbard's. Clint Roberts.
Good morning, George. Good morning to all the members of the panel. Good morning to our listening and viewing public. This morning I got up, in preparation of being here, and I started, scripting, how I would open my statement, and I was referring to beautiful sunshine Grenada at that point, and then rain came. I went and I bathed, I got up back, and there's the sunshine. At the moment I entered the studio here, it was sunshine. I'm not sure if it has swung since. I'm happy to be here this morning.
And thank you for the support that you're giving to Co-op and Richard and the team. Let me hear your reason for becoming involved in this, or Hubbard's.
Hubbard's has been a benefactor of the Carlton Home, the initial construction of the Carlton Home. At Hubbard's, we view it as part of our corporate social responsibility, and also in keeping with our overall mission and objectives. Mm-hmm. Our commitment to this program, this project, the Carlton Home project, we came on board under the stewardship of our former managing director, Mr. Alan Bazinski. A.B. Bazinski. Good morning, Mr. Bazinski, if you're listening. So we came on board about 4 years ago. We see the issue of substance abuse. And substance abuse is not just limited to alcohol abuse, though alcohol abuse is very, very prevalent here in Grenada. But the issue of substance abuse, the mental health, and the issue of productivity of individuals during work and otherwise. If you're not in a firm mental state, it essentially impairs your judgment. You make irrational decisions, take up inappropriate actions. So we see it as a necessary project to embark on, necessary for society as a whole. Grenada is a tourist destination, and having abusers, degenerating into a state where they wander in the streets, it does not really add value to the image of our beautiful island. We believe that.
Okay, go ahead.
We believe that having those persons cared for and nurtured back into health in an institution such as Carlton Home really, really had tremendous value. Tourism is a significant contributor to our gross domestic product. And on that ground, we came on board. We recognized the value. And we've made that commitment. We've made financial commitment. We have make direct contribution, financial contribution, and we also came on board with Pump It Up with Core Bank.
You talk about the image of image created by alcoholism. I tell you, one of the sad things I noticed on a Friday evening, if you go downtown, anywhere near to the bus terminal or even by the mall, it is pathetic to see the youngsters, some of them with open bottles and others in brown paper bags like Stupidity Georgia, what in the back, But it is pathetic to see these youngsters. And I'm going to talk with Dr. Sonia Nixon, who just came in a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Clint, before I pull away from you, I want you to talk to other potential sponsors like yourself. We got to rope them in. We got to get them on board.
Yes. Grenada is our home. This is where we belong. This is where we reside. And we're not doing this initiative is not only for ourselves, it is for our children, and others who journey through Grenada while here on earth. We need to ensure that we create the necessary institution to ensure that persons who walk the earth here in Grenada can make meaningful contribution to society. And this project is very, very critical in that regard.
So come on board.
Join us. Yes.
Penny evening, whatever. Okay. One more sponsor before I get to the doctor. And this time we're going to talk to Mr. Phillip Gittens. There he is. He's been sitting very quietly. Look at that big smile. Mr. Gittens is with the Antillean group. Phillip, you haven't been with us here before, have you?
On different matters, yes.
On different matters?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so long ago, man. I can't hold you. I can't remember. Phillip, why did you become involved?
All that has been said about corporate responsibility is exactly why we came on board. Corporate responsibility does not just involve making money in a society, but being part of the society in which you operate. And nobody could survive in a society where you try to make money, but you're surrounded by poverty as a consequence of alcohol or substance abuse. Substance abuse does not only take down the individual, it takes down families. And you're talking about statistics in Grenada that talk to 3.5 persons per household. So when you talk about the breadwinner becoming an alcoholic and being unable to work anymore, you are not talking about one individual. You're talking about 3.5 persons being hit. And in many instances, it's more. Because we come from a culture where fellas will have 2 or 3 households that they're supporting. So it creates a huge impact on our society. My first profession was at a pharmacy. And I did a stint at Carlton Home when it was the original Carlton Home. And George, you have no clue, unless you have seen what you see there, to understand what it is to be suffering from substance abuse. What has gotten even worse is that in the case of alcohol, and in some instances marijuana, and Dr. Johnson will speak to this, Dr. Sonia will speak to this, is that this has now reached the level of our schools. Huh? And so this is not improving. This is getting worse. And yet we're living in a time where there's no specialized, let's call it a hospital, for the treatment of persons suffering from such a condition. So when Co-op Bank offered for us to come on board, this is almost a no-brainer. You can't be trying to support your community and not jump at the opportunity to get involved. So this is really where we got involved, feeling that it was a real responsibility and a great opportunity to make a difference.
To make a difference. You know, Richard will probably tell you that he's been here for the last few years about the Pump It Up. And something I always bring up is the feeling that he must have when he sees the response that he and this project have
very
gotten,
much so.
you know. And I imagine you are going to feel pretty much the same way when you see the people pumping out there on 24th, 28th, 28th. Huh?
2 Sundays from today.
2 Sundays from now. So you guys must feel pretty good about making a difference in the community. It's not just about making money. It's about making a difference in the community.
Very much so.
Yeah?
Very much so.
And somehow, you know, having known you guys, I don't see any of you as being the type of person who will talk about it because you want people to know that you've given. You're doing this, damn it, because you're making a difference and saving lives. Huh?
Very much so.
Thank you, Phillip. Now,
but before we go to the medical side, if you don't mind, George, while we're on the issue of the benefactors, I want to underscore 2 further points. That Koyaba Beach Resort is our latest benefactor.
They're on board.
They're on board, fully on board, and they came on board at least at the launch of the Pump It Up walk for this year. They had a fire.
I heard about
the night before, and the operations manager, who was the main point person, obviously responding to that incident, was at the launch event, cool, calm, and collected, while at the same time he had his people restoring the operations at Koyaba. So we want to take our hats off to Mr. Andre Sherman and his team and Paul for the commitment shown thus far.
Okay.
Also at the launch, Guardian General OECS Limited, through Mr. Ronald Hughes, who has been on board for the last 4 years, announced an increase in his contribution. So he's moving from the sleeve of the T-shirt to the back, where he's joining the other guys. So, and it's a 50% increase in contribution. So we really and truly want to underscore those 2 points to these 2 wonderful corporate entities and their leadership.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now, let's turn to this young lady over here. She's been with us a number of times. Good morning, Dr. Sonia. How art thou?
Good morning. I'm well, thanks. Good morning, guys. And apologize for being late because I don't normally come late. You know that, right?
The next time, bring me a note signed by your mom.
No, actually, he went to church. I had duties.
And I hope you put in a good word for us.
Yeah. I didn't have time because I had to run back down to St. George's. Good morning, everyone, and it's really a pleasure being here again. And I listen to everybody, and speaking of, corporate responsibility, the truth is our economy is based on tourism for the most part. What we say, who we say we are, and there's a thing that I learned, that tourism is everybody's business. The Ministry of Health, however, has a responsibility of, we're in the health business. We're supposed to keep our nation well. That comes in as under our mission statement. How that we are supposed to just keep people well. Mm-hmm. And wellness has different faces. In this circumstances, we're talking about wellness, mental wellness as a result of substance use. Before we would think of substance users as people who just really disgusting people out there, who really out there making menace of themselves and really destroying society, without recognizing that substance misuse is really a problem, is a health problem, something you're likely to have because you kind of, 1, wired that way, 2, have opportunity, and 3, may have precipitating factors that lead you to use the opportunity and get your wiring all set off. What we've seen in recent years, and I'm sure it's reiterated here a million times before and today, that there is an increased use. Our biggest drug is alcohol, but it's quite legal. We have tobacco that is legal. Okay, and there are other things that we don't know, that you probably don't know that exist, and I wouldn't like to say it in public so nobody goes looking for it. But there are other drugs that are equally difficult. And it's unfortunate that we don't have a facility. You talk about treatment, but there are two sides to that. There's one where you treat somebody to get rid of the drug and to not use it. But there's also rehabilitation, which is what Carlton Home offers. And we must offer people the opportunity to regroup themselves, to figure out what's going on, to understand what's going on, and to get back into, as far as possible, as Mr. Hubbard said, getting back into the normal life and being beneficial. We want all our citizens to be of some value. Whatever your little value is, you should have the opportunity to display that.
It makes a difference.
It does make a difference, because everybody has a role. That's why you're here.
Right.
Okay.
Sonia, listen, before you go any further, you talked about the alcohol. There's somebody here named Nigel who just placed something on Facebook. He says, to effectively address an issue, in this case the widespread abuse of alcohol, wouldn't focusing on the root of the problem be most practical? Ban advertising alcohol in media, print, radio, and television. Let me hear you though.
So no, that's actually a very good way of being able to control alcohol.
Not the first time I've heard it.
No, it's not. It's a very good way. But we have to have the will to do this. We have to have people who have the will. The people with the powers must have the will to do this. We must not have alcohol being sponsoring our activities. We must not have alcohol being the means that draw you to come to football. We mustn't have alcohol being sold in environments where children are, because we have seen an increased use of alcohol in our young people. We have seen an increased use of alcohol in our women.
That's something I want to get to.
Right? And I want to tell you, and I've said this here before, and I keep saying it every time I have the opportunity. Alcohol use in young women increases their potential for breast cancer.
Among other.
Well, I want to say breast cancer because that's the most recent research. Alcohol use among young women increases the possibility of developing breast cancer.
The point that I was trying to make here, trying to sneak in here, is the lyrics in our music. Hold on. There are a couple of. There's a young group of kids. Starting about 5 weeks ago, I gave these kids an hour every week to do a program here, Make We Chat. When I'm through with you guys this morning, I'm going to be playing the edition that they did this past Thursday. And you know something? One of them really knocked me off my seat here, because he said the lyrics in the calypso, especially soca, that we hear today, everything it's about drinking. Huh?
So we were having an activity, and I said no rum songs, and we almost had no music. Because our calypso is nice, the rhythm great. Absolutely. I think our calypsos are the best when it comes to getting people pumping, that they could pump for a long time. But the bottom line is that you can't play the lyrics. I know Richard and we just spoke about it. We can't speak. We can't use our music as much as we want to support our musicians, our artists. We can't use our music to be on the road. You know how nice some of them songs are, how much of that keep us alive on the road? We just can't. We cannot promote substances that contradict what our message is. And the message is, you'd rather that you not be drinking alcohol, that you mean healthy and sane.
I'm a strong proponent of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, but there has to be some logic here. I mean, if you have scientific evidence that stuff is
overly compelling.
Exactly.
Overly compelling.
Why?
But you see, there must be, just like we're all here doing this, because I'm telling you, the ministry cannot do this alone.
Exactly.
Nobody can do this alone. We must have other, apart from our corporate sponsors, we must have other civil society groups who are interested. You must have professionals who know what they're doing. You must have the people who are the substance users who are seeking out help, their families who support them, etc., etc., etc. Their bosses, because I'm sure that in every agency represented here today, that there are people who have challenges. Okay. So I would like to think, how much more can they produce? But the bottom line is that the ministry can't do this alone. We have to collaborate with everybody and get on board to form one thought and walk along that singular path to ensure that our population can be preserved and can be reinstated, renewed, renovated, whatever you say, right? Something that is good, right? And control the challenges we have with substances. The truth is there are other substances, and that's what bothers us as well, that there are other substances that come into play, which I don't want to mention, where our young people have access. You know, we live in a little big world where there is so much access. There's travel. I can get on a plane today and be in Moscow by 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, right? In the same way, I can be in Moscow and have taken something from Grenada to Moscow, or vice versa. So we have substances that our youth have access to, and that we don't understand, and that even the bigger countries who have them don't understand. We have to preserve what is our future. If the future ends with us, I guess we're in trouble, right? If the future ends with us, if the future kind of ends with our children, we're still in trouble, because they're probably 2 generations after some of us sitting in here, right? We have to work at this.
Sonia, listen, you know, I have ignored a lot of the comments on social media this morning, not because I want to, I'm not doing it deliberately, it's just that time constraints, I want to get everybody in here. But there's some that have just come in. Nigel says, local herbalist Patrick Delves has been saying so, he's talking about alcohol abuse, promoting breast cancer in women for a long time.
Well, I don't know if Patrick Delves is saying so, but I know that recent research that has been published has said so, and we keep saying it over and over. The truth is, we need to operationalize those thoughts into action, into ensuring that people understand. We have to educate our children. We have to educate our parents. We have to educate the parents. We have to educate the little ones, right? And we know where alcohol starts. Alcohol starts with your grandmother give you a little bit of sorrel and a rum at Christmas. A little rum and a sorrel or a cake, or, you know, that what? Yeah, but it's wrong. We have to recognize it as wrong. No, we have to because you get, once you start when you're small, once you have that wiring, right? And there's access, of course, but parents don't understand this. And what's a little drink? Nothing gonna go wrong with him. We give babies rum to sleep.
Ryan Jaban is in Florida, and I mentioned to Richard a little while ago, Ryan's a retired nurse in Orlando. He says, good morning, Dr. Sonia. On my October 2018 vacation home in Grenada, I was appalled to see young mothers breastfeeding babies while drinking Rivers rum in rum shops in Telescope.
Yeah, but that is a reportable offense, because that is actually child abuse. He should have reported it to Children's Services.
Ryan?
So I'm just as shocked as you, right? I really am. And I'm sure everybody here is equally shocked, right? And it means that we're not getting the message. The ministry is going to have to step up. And we're all going to have to step up. But it's something we have to say every day. You know, because it is socially acceptable to have a drink. But how many drinks have you had? And you know my favorite thing, there's nothing called responsible drinking, okay? Guys? No.
Ernesto Jose says, Dr. Nixon, I heard you. But we have a cane field now preparing for rum.
I know.
Now prepared for rum.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. And we want to say, again, we talk about the economic benefits to be had from rum manufacturing. We make 1%. The entire Caribbean produces 1% of the alcohol that's consumed in the world. However, we in the Caribbean we actually consume 40% of that. And that comes out of the West Indies Wine and Spirits Association.
Sad commentary.
Right? So I hope the cane that's been planted is alcohol for elsewhere. Because with 40% of that being consumed, it means that there is a lot more for us to consume.
Sonia, I want to get back to Richard and talk about the logistics about this event. But hold on, no, give her back the microphone. I want to ask you one more question. I heard the health minister talking about building a new Carlton home.
So there has been a location identified for Carlton House. Because the extent of the problem that we have today kind of demands that we have facilities where you can offer appropriate rehabilitation services. And a rehab service has to be away from where there's temptation. It has to have a place of peace and ability to have interactions and be away from your family, be away from people, places, and things that encourage you to participate in that kind of activity. And when it comes to rehab, you have to have activity, things that people do, farming, whatever they want to do, right? So a place has actually been identified, not the original Carlton House, because there's already some infrastructure. And also because Mama said you needed to be treated. So if you are an alcoholic, for example, if you are somebody who consumed alcohol, you can't just stop. Most alcoholics can't just stop because they can become violently ill and actually die. That's why they don't stop. Okay? So it's close to a medical facility that will afford scientific, evidence-based medical interventions that will help you to detox, because that is very important. Okay. So it's near to a detox facility, but it's in the country. It's really salubrious. I've been there. It's really, really, really nice place to be. Okay. So that's where we're considering. And it will have a little more space, a lot more land and stuff, so that once it starts going, it should be good.
Way to go. Let me get back to Mr. Duncan here. Mr. Duncan. Let's now start talking a little bit about the logistics of the fun walk.
Okay, George. The route is from Monrouge Plainfield to the National Stadium, Cricket Stadium. We have two routes as per usual. The challenge route is the one where when you come on to Karani James Boulevard and you get to the Arlene Francisque roundabout, you make a right up the lane, okay, down Marasel, onto Tempe, through River Road, and to the National Stadium. That's for those who want to burn additional calories. Fellas like yourself, George, yes. That challenge route is for you. All right. And the regular route, obviously, continue on to Port Highway, around the Grenada'S, up Young Street, down here, and onto the National Stadium. We begin the official ceremony at 3:30. At 3:45, there will be the warm-up session, because we want to encourage people not to do this walk without, first of all, preparing themselves, right? So the warm-up session will assist with that. There will be water points along the route, strategically located. We want to encourage people to remain hydrated throughout the walk. Obviously, there will be 2 trucks with appropriate music, and I think Dr. Nixon made the point that all the great soca music that we have will be played, none of which will be any song that glamorizes alcohol or any other substance. So you'll have a fun time in that way. We also want to emphasize that people should check the gear, the shoe. Because some people just grab the shoe an hour before the walk.
No high heels,
and then find that it's unsticking, So we just want to, we have seen some, humorous instances. But just do that again the way you dress, in terms of make sure your jersey is, loose enough, right? Because heat could be an issue, while you walk. We have the Red Cross that will be there to assist us in the unlikely event of any incident taking place. At the finish, you will have a finish line that we encourage people to cross. We will be having a closing off ceremony, and we will be having entertainment by the band Mystic, which is a very popular local band. So, we cool down and then we have some nice, entertainment. Healthy, refreshing snacks and juices will be on sale at the National Stadium as well. So, and other healthy products will be promoted by some of them.
No rivers?
The St. John River is just in the back, just in the back of the stadium. So that one is there, right? So that basically is it. The whole idea is that there's no prize or reward for coming first.
I wanted to talk with you about that because it's not a competitive event.
Absolutely, it's a
But there
family.
will be prizes.
There will be prizes, a family fun event. So what we do, we say to folks, listen, if you and your wife or significant other register, it is $20 per person. Get one more person and the cost of registration drops immediately to $15 per person. So groups of 3 and above is $15. So we have awards for the largest family group registered, the largest workplace group, and workplaces are divided into small, micro, and large, I think medium and large. So, GRENADA will not outcompete, or Huggins will not outcompete, for example, a smaller workplace, so they are categorized. Then we have for the most senior citizen on foot, we have for the youngest child in stroller, and I think one was registered at the hospital in Carriacou, so that one obviously, right? And then we have, the youngest male, female on foot, right? So several different, interesting ways in which we encourage the fun and the participation of the population. The largest church-based group as well. So the churches are involved, the schools are involved, and they'll be rewarded accordingly.
All right, Sonia wanted to get something in here. Sonia?
So I think one of the things we kind of almost fail to laud Cooperative Bank about is the fact that it's a family event. And in the light that, as Phillip said, alcohol affects families first. Right? It's important that family, and exercise is one of the things that we can do to avoid substance use. People tell who smoke, they start walking, and I can't smoke half a cigarette. They can't. Right, because their body changes. If we can encourage families in particular to do together, it means we're encouraging families to be together, to do good things, to do positive things together. And remember, how the family functions is going to affect how the community functions. How the community functions affect how the rest of the bigger community, village functions, how the village functions with the parish and the country and economically. And that is why it's so important that Cooperative Bank takes the family as the nucleus of this whole event. So,
all right. Just before we go, folks, we're running out of time, but I want to get back to you for a sec here, Richard. Let's talk about the registration process.
Yeah, well, George, registration is across the retail banking units of the bank, from Sotes to Spiceland Mall. We want to encourage people to probably try and get registered by the end of this week. The last count is that we really and truly, you'll have to accept whatever size jerseys you get. What we have right now is extra large, and 3XL. So we do not want to make people believe that they can come and get the choice pick in terms of size. And no. It's pretty much, a done deal. But you would have to go with the large and the 3XLs. That's what we have remaining. So the registration has been extremely good throughout the various retail units of the bank. George, I also want to mention some of our alliance partners for making the event possible. We have GRENADA'S, right, as the official water of the walk. We have the Spice Isle Fishing, I think it is, for the ice. Then we have Huggins that given us the prizes for many of the awards that we are going to be giving out. We are very thankful for that support. We have Southern Waste Management for the cleanup. And our challenge or our aim is not a single piece of litter would be left behind at the end of this walk. Bins will be strategically located along the route for people to put their empties in. We also want to say thank you to the staff of the bank. We have a very involved group of volunteers who are planning the logistics of this event. And I want to single out our marketing team and Roger Duncan and some Micah Roberts and some other staff like Carla Wilson, and the support that we are getting. It's a very involved activity. Deanna Lashley is there as well. Mr. Troy Garvey is there giving us some support. So it's a great event, and we are thankful for the opportunity to serve Grenada in this way, and we are also thankful for our alliance partners who have come through for us again. Right now we have $220,000 towards the fund. The idea is to get to $500,000 by 2021 or beyond if we have to go, an extra year or two. Most importantly, the fund is being managed by a board of trustees, so that those entities that are fearful that we would hand the government the check at the end of the day and it would somehow get sucked up into the general scheme of things, that is not going to happen. And that is an understanding between us and the Ministry of Health from the very beginning. So all in all, George, we are grateful for the opportunity to speak to the public about the event and to get the message across.
Richard, I said it time and time again, I'm going to say it again this time. Thank you so much for making a difference. I mean, what you guys are doing is just a small part of the picture, a little bit of what Co-op does. I know you guys are involved in the community in a lot of different ways, okay? These guys help to make it possible for you to hear what you're hearing right now and all the other programs we do. And I'm going to ask James, I'm going to look them right in the eyes right now. You don't have to give them microphones. I don't want them to say anything. But James, Phillip, and Clint. Imagine this, Richard. If each of these, Sonia, I'm going to rope you in on this too. I'm going to rope you in on this. If each of these 4 people got just one more sponsor to join, you'd make that 500 before 2021.
I agree because the sponsorship ranges from $20,000, per annum to $10,000 per annum. So if we get 4 additional sponsors at 20 each, that's $80,000 per year. So we're right on target. But we are hopeful. Each year we have been able to add one significant sponsor, and I'm quite certain that with the confidence that we have built, the momentum that we have created, and what I like to call the brand synergy among Co-op, Flow, Antillean Group, Hubbard's, now Koyaba, Guardian General, that synergy I'm quite certain is going to galvanize further support from other entities as we go forward.
All right. Well, let me help you. Mr. Roberts, next year, one additional sponsor and get AB to help you.
We certainly will work towards that. In fact, having more than one.
Thank you very much. Public pledge, Mr. Forgot his name.
Duncan.
Mr. Duncan. Mr. Phillip, one additional sponsor.
We will make such a commitment, George.
Mr. Pitt.
Don't give me 2 now, George.
How did you know that's my attitude?
No, we will definitely engage our partners, and we work with, we provide telecoms across the country, so we will definitely reach out with a more assertive effort to achieving that.
Sonia?
Well, I can't speak for the ministry, but I would, once we are able to solicit from a ministry, a government standpoint, I'm sure that we can encourage our stakeholders, our friends in the community to support this move.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There you go, Mr. Duncan. I think we're on to something.
I agree, George.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Richard Duncan, who is the managing director of the Grenada Co-Operative Bank. He's been talking with us, along with Mr. Clint Roberts, who's the financial controller down at the Hubbards, Jonas, Browne and Hubbards. Mr. James Pitt, who's the country manager for Flow, Grenada. and also Mr. Phillip Gittens, the operations manager for the Antillean group. Folks, we're going to take a little break here, and she's sitting behind my monitor. That's why I didn't see her. I'm sorry, Sonia. Oh, I'm sorry. Dr. Sonia Nixon, who is the Chief Medical Officer. Senior Medical Officer down at the Ministry of Health. Thank you very much, Sonia. Always good to see you. Folks, we're going to take a little break here, and we'll come on back.
There's probably somebody sitting out there asking. No. Yeah, and it's now 10:41. I'll call you a little later. Hey, good to see you. Clint. AB Junior.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Conveniently located in the GRENADA'S Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair GRENADA'S will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Start the stride to healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carrickoo on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis courts, and in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton Home.
Welcome home.
Alrighty, folks, we are back. Now, time's now moved on to 17 minutes away from the hour. Once again, for those of you out there on Facebook, my apologies. I really wish I could have kept up with you guys, but terribly sorry about that. Okay, now, take a look. There she is. Look at that beautiful little smile. Boy, that's what I needed on a Sunday morning. Thank you very much. Meschida is here to talk with us about, Meschida Phillip is here to talk about a film festival. Meschida, by the way, happens to be the founder of the film festival.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to meet you, young lady.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. And good morning to everyone locally and in the diaspora.
They're all over.
They're all over.
They're all over, man. You can't escape these guys. Meschida, let's start by talking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What is it you do?
I am a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Let me wheel it back a little. I'm Grenadian, American. I live in both places. I went to school at Boca Secondary School, and since then, I've gotten my master's in film, and I've produced 2 films here in Grenada, featuring Grenadians. And I am now pursuing this initiative of putting together the film festival here in Grenada. So I'm doing a little of everything.
Little of everything. And we're going to talk a little bit about the film festival
Yeah.
in a minute, but I want to start with the title. Interesting title. 12 degrees north, 61 degrees west film festival.
Yep.
How did that come about?
When I was actually shooting my second film, which is going to be showcasing at the festival this year, is dealing with longitude, latitudes, coordinates, and while conceptualizing and brainstorming a name for the festival, we came up with this idea of 12 degrees north, 61 degrees west, because again, it's the coordinates, the beginning coordinates of Grenada, and we didn't want the 473 and the greens and everything that everyone normally has, so we want something that was unique to us, and yeah, the idea was birthed.
I'm sure it's caught a lot of attraction.
It is. People are asking, what is this? Where is this? And so now persons are recognizing that this is Grenada. This is the coordinates of Grenada. So yes.
So I bet the people down at Pure Grenada are happy that you're promoting the location of their Pure Grenada. Do you know somebody by the name of Carla Clement?
Carla Clement.
Carla Clement is saying, congratulations, Meschida.
Okay, thank you, Carla.
Film festival. First of all, when and where is this going to be?
Okay, the festival is taking place May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The primary location is Lavo Lane, that's in St. George's, Cali, St. George's. The opening night will be that Friday. And Friday we will be having at 5:30 a cocktail hour, followed by the screening of the first set of films, and then we are having live entertainment. Saturday, we are having all-day screenings at Lavo Lane, and we also moved the venue to simultaneously to St. Andrews. So we're having a full day of screening also at the Deluxe Cinema in St. Andrews. So the 2 days on Saturday, May 4th, we're screening at both locations. Additionally, we are screening at Excel Plaza, Movie Palace in Excel Plaza that morning just for the children. So, yes.
The film industry in Grenada is only just getting off the ground.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have to persons who may be interested in getting into the film industry? Like, how did you get in? And, what route should they follow?
Creativity has always been part of who I am. I've worked for several years with emerging artists back here. We started our own little business here in Grenada several years ago with my sister. So this is something that has been there. When I relocated back to the United States in 2011, I started to work in different production houses, writing and producing work behind the scenes. And basically, I took a leap and went back to school and to hone in my skills, because one of the things that I recognize when you are working behind the scenes, most times you're putting a lot of effort, and the projects never get to see the time of day.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be in charge of my own destiny. So that's basically how I did, and I chose to invest in myself, because this is a labor of love intensive kind of field that the rewards come probably much later. You don't get to see the rewards, but you end up investing more than you're actually getting back.
A lot of youngsters sitting back here look at people like, some of the big actors you see in Hollywood, and they think it was an overnight thing.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No, it's not.
So it's a lot of luck and chance involved in.
A lot of luck, chance, and a lot of discipline, basically. Because, for instance, with this festival, I spent the last, 6 to 8 months prepping for this festival. So it wasn't just something that I got up yesterday and say, we're having this in May. There's a lot of work that went on in the back end to make this possible and bring it forth. Yeah.
And filmmaking, you can cover just about everything with filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Grenada is such a scenic spot.
Beautiful spot.
Beautiful spot. What would you, what sort of films would you like to see being made here?
Oh my
I
goodness.
know that's a tough one. But
That is a really good question. Films like what I've made in Grenada, basically, such as I've done a narrative and I've also done a documentary here in Grenada, right? And anything that is showcasing the natural aesthetics here in Grenada, I think that's what we need to see. And not just like you pick up a camera and just shooting, but taking the time to put a little bit more planning, to finesse everything and just showcase that. For instance, we shot in Guave, and just the local community was part there. We had some natural actors that just came in, and the guys look so good on camera, you know. So things along that line, things that can showcase our culture here, is what I need and what I would encourage us to be filming more. Yeah.
I hope the youngsters are listening to you. Let me share some comments that are coming in on
Uh-huh.
Facebook here. You know somebody named Patricia Gemma
Yes, that's my cousin.
Watching you, Kyle.
Hi.
She's in Toronto. Right?
She's in Toronto.
Okay. That's one. Dennis Strauss also just joined us. Dennis Strauss was on this program in
Yes.
New York a few weeks ago, and he says here, this lady is very smart and so beautiful. I expect great things from her.
Okay.
You're making her blush. Carla Clemens says it's hard work all the way.
Yes.
And for all areas of life. But young people think it's overnight.
It's not.
It ain't.
It's not. I mean, myself and my team, I have an amazing team with me because I cannot do it all by myself. The idea probably was conceptualized by myself, but it takes a team to make this possible, you know, and we're working diligently day in and day night to make this happen. And we're talking about both local, regional, and international persons that are part of the team. So
Somebody who may wish to join your team, how do they get a hold of you and what's the process?
they can call me because we are accepting volunteers. Now that we're down to like the last couple weeks before this comes to light, we still need persons who are good with technical stuff, people who are good with social media stuff to come and help us in that sense. We welcome suggestions because again, this is our first initiative and is to make it right. We take suggestions and input from other persons.
Young lady, let me tell you, here comes your first suggestion. This one's coming out from Carriacou.
Yes.
There's a gentleman living in Carriacou. His name's John. And he says, fly off the wall film. Fly off the wall film of real life happenings. That's what he wants to see. Real life happenings. On all 3 islands, not just Grenada.
Well, we're hoping we're starting here, but we're hoping with the proper sponsorships and support financially, because it takes a lot to put this on, we can bring it out to the other islands next year and moving forward.
There's a lady listening to you in New York right now. Her name is Margaret Francis, and Margaret is asking, you know Margaret?
I'm familiar with the name. I'm pretty sure I probably know. I apologize, Miss Margaret, if I don't connect it right now.
Margaret's on just about every program. Margaret says, what are some of the films and documentaries one can expect to see?
Okay, so my film, which is a short film called Crystal, that was supported by Huggins, and that will be showcasing at the film festival. So the opening night, basically, we are featuring films by Caribbean female filmmakers. We made it a point to showcase that because this is a new era in helping women in the industry, uplift them and empower them. So we have a film out of Jamaica called Unspoken. It's a beautiful film. We have something called Dodo Titi that is basically touching on the migrant experience of a homekeeper in North America. We have films from Africa that are feature length called Lara and the Beat. So what we did basically is open it up to the diaspora. So anything that is culturally relevant and relatable to us here as Black people in the Caribbean, that's the type of film that we're showcasing. We have films here that was done locally by one of the shorts are called Jab Jab, and that was done by two producers out in London. But they came home and Colin Dow actually narrated that film. And just seeing the imagery in that, we try to really make it diverse. We have programs for the kids. We have animations for the kids with positive interpretation of who we are. And we have a local animator who did a beautiful piece called The Cure that is on there. So we have encouraged more Grenadians to submit their work, but hopefully next year we can get more productions out of Grenada to showcase.
There's somebody named Lima Bullen who's with Helen Marie and Associates.
Yes.
You know her?
That's my sister's sister. That's my sister, I guess. Hi, Lima.
On here today, folks. Whole family, it's a family.
It's a family affair. That's how you know they're supporting me. I'm like, you see, I'm blushing, right?
And, by the way, Sonia McKee-John.
I'm
You
not
know
sure,
Sonia?
no.
Sonia says, in 2 words, she's beautiful. Hey.
I'm a behind the camera type of person, you know. You have the AC on rolling and I'm hot now.
It's been quite the morning, folks.
Yes.
Meschida, pleasure meeting with you already.
Likewise.
And I hope that this is only the first of several visits.
I hope so
And
too.
Come back and see us again.
Yes.
And update us, and let us share with the public your planned activities so that they can become involved. You know, there are people who are looking for things to do out there, especially things that are going to uplift this country, and I really, really look forward to seeing and hearing more from you.
Before we leave, actually, I just wanted to let persons know also that preceding the festival from April 29th, 30th, and the 2nd of May, we partnered with Labukan Creative Services, Creative Center, that's with Urias Peters and Ann Peters, and we're actually having production workshops from script development and story writing to makeup for film and television, which is going to be put on by Shelley and Divya here locally in Grenada. 2 of our most talented makeup artists here are facilitating that workshop. We have production workshops that we partnered with a company in Trinidad called Fix a Film. The producer is coming in and actually teaching that. So we have another company called Seed and Spark from America who's coming in to talk about crowdfunding, how to raise money for your projects and how to pitch your ideas. And after you're finished with your project, what do you do? Distribution. I'll be talking about the psychology of applying to film festivals to allow our young and emerging and seasoned filmmakers here to understand what the international market is looking for. So the tickets are on sale right now. It's $135 right now per workshop. You can go in, you can choose which workshop you want. Call us, talk to us, and figure out ways in which you can get involved. And all that is on Go to FET, ticket outlet right now. And for the prices increase after the 22nd, of course. And for the tickets for the film festival, I mean, we made it very affordable. For the children matinee is $13. And for the general admission, it is $25 per screening. So all that is on GoToFed. But if persons want to attend the entire weekend, it's $250 for the entire package, and then they can come to every single activity that we're having. So we're hoping that persons take advantage of that, because some of the international filmmakers are coming in to be part of this festival. So come, pick their brains, network with these people, and see how we can make our production even better for next year.
Somebody has just joined us from Zurich, Switzerland.
Okay.
You out there. Sonia McKee says, nice, let's support our own people.
Thank you. Thank you.
A lot of people out there share those sentiments right now. By the way, you just answered a question that came in from Margaret a few minutes ago. I
Mhm.
was just waiting on the chance to get the question in. Margaret says, will there be discussion sessions as part of the showings?
Yes.
Huh? Yeah.
Yes. What we're planning to do basically is whichever filmmaker is actually on island for that festival, after their screening, we have something called a talkback. That's part of every festival that you're having out there, that people can actually engage with the filmmakers and ask them questions, the inspiration behind the films that they're making and stuff like that, to make it more personable. That is huge for us, and we're having a panel discussion on women in film and television. What are our challenges, and what are the things that we're seeing, the trends, and how we can better formulate a community to help uplift and empower everyone. So yeah, we have a lot in store. Check out our website. And we're rolling out now our film schedule, so persons can get familiarized with the films that we'll be showcasing.
Well, here's a question for you again from Gary Koo. Is Vanishing Sales showing?
Vanishing Sales was not programmed at this year's festival because by the time we got the introduction to do so, our schedule was really packed. Okay. We had over 100 submissions from across the world to select from. So yes, we opened submission in November. So it has been very, very it has been a process, put it this way. We had 3 persons on the programming team, and we have 4 judges now who are looking now at all the films that were selected.
Finally, Donna Antoine says, why is it everybody's talking about this lady's beauty? I don't see anything that beautiful about her.
My personality, Donna.
I'm only kidding, Meschida. Donna says, beautiful lady, sells her venture so articulately. She says, best wishes in all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much.
This
Thank
is a
you.
very sincere lady you're talking about.
Yes.
Thank you, Meschida.
Yes.
I hope to see you again.
Yes, thank you so much.
Meschida Phillip is a filmmaker and the person who put together the 12 degrees north, 61 degrees west Grenada Film Festival. Coming up soon. Stay tuned. Folks, I'm going to take another little break here and we'll come back.
Boyo,
With
they got
our
fly
next
kite now. The wind picking up. I'm coming. Karim, what you doing? Fly my kite. Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy. Why not? The wind good. Because mommy say, kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, let's go and fly them in the pasture. Yeah, that makes sense.
Kite threads conduct electricity. Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GRENADA'S. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GRENADA'S, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks, I've been telling you for the past 5 weeks or so about a new program which we launched here called Woke. All right, it's a platform where Grenada's youngsters get together every Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock right here on Grenada Broadcast. And they share their dreams and their aspirations. They talk about some of the things they'd like to see changed in this country. This program has sparked a lot of interest globally. We did an edition on Thursday of this past week. I've broken it up into two parts, and I want to share that with you this morning. Right now, here goes part one. And this gentleman is Joel Greenidge. He's a youth activist in Grenada.
Pleasant good afternoon to the listeners and viewers of Grenada Broadcast. Welcome to the 5th episode of Woke. I am your host, Joel Greenidge. And in studio today, I have with you my good friend, Augustine Lewis. Today, we are going to have a very interesting conversation around the social, economic, and political issues affecting the young people and generally the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and PD Martinique. Today, we're going to touch on a very interesting issue, the psychosocial behaviors of our young people in the society today. Marcel, you know, one of my observation recently is the issue of psychosocial behaviors among our people, especially our young people. Just recently, I was reading a newspaper article, or matter of fact, I was listening to the news, and I saw that a 13-year-old was charged for non-capital murder. In other news, I saw a 80-year-old woman was actually raped. And you have heard of numerous social issues and issues of violence in a society that is not normal. What do you think has happened? Do you think that there is a breakdown in the moral fiber in a society that has contributed to that? Or do you think that our people is just frustrated and depressed and they don't have the right mindset to really cope with their challenges, and these are just consequences of their coping mechanisms?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say a special good afternoon to our audience. Once again, we appreciate you for tuning in. This is going to be another positive program. Just to answer your question, what we're seeing presently are effects. And we have to get to the root cause of it. And how do we get there as a society? We get there by, I would say, honest introspection. We looking at ourselves and our communities, our parishes, and our country as a whole. You know, what are some of the issues that we are affecting? You know, we are affected by. I would say one of the most important thing is that of conflict resolution. How do we handle conflict as a society? Most of the young people, they are not equipped to handle a disagreement. Most times it may end up being physical, may lead to chopping injuries and maybe even death. So how do we pull these young people together? Can more be done in the schools in terms of handling conflicts? And the answer is yes. But should it only be left up to the schools? I would say no. What is the part that the parents at home is going to play in terms of that process as well? You know, my grandmother would always say, you know, charity begins at home and ends abroad. So there is a direct responsibility on the parents of the young people as well to groom that young man or to groom that young woman to best handle conflict. What's about our churches as well? Our churches have a very important part to play in that process as well. You know, how do we groom congregation? How do we groom society? How could the church be I would say, a moral authority? How do they pull, you know, young people together in a meaningful way? So there is a direct try to address this issue, and it is a growing issue in terms of to touch on the issue of sexual violence. You know, it has become rampant, and maybe it hasn't. Maybe as with the age of social media and technologies, the stories are being told. Maybe those stories have always been there in our society and no one has been able to tell those victim stories, and it is quite sad, you know, and it begs the question, What was the mindset of this young person that would have raped an 84-year-old woman? Is this a normal human being? Has he had any sort of mental issues? And if he had mental issue, could he have sought out help? Was there any organization that could have provided this young man with the necessary help that he needed? And instead of we pointing fingers, we would have to get to the root cause of it. And I would say, as a society, we have to look at ourselves. It's not only saying that, a young man raped an 84-year-old woman. Society has failed. Could we have provided this young man with support? I was speaking to someone a while ago, and they stated that he's a repeated offender. So this is something that this young man has been doing. He has been doing. So I would say law enforcement, have they failed? We talk about the sex offenders registry. If we had a sex offender registry, could we have prevented the brutal rape of this 84-year-old? And I champion the cause of that sex offender registry. It's tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of the talk. And it's time that we enforce this, And I'm calling on all parties. I'm calling on the government. I'm calling on social partners to come together and let us make the sex offenders registry a reality.
And you touch on a lot of valuable points, but one of the points I would just like to emphasize a little bit on is the fact that there's so many young people that have found themselves in a position where either they are turned to drugs or to alcohol as a coping mechanism with a deeper rooted problem, where they're coming from home that is infested with poverty, dysfunctional homes, the ability to cope with the stress of not finding a decent job, the fact that these young people are in touch with technologies and they're seeing the lifestyles of other people out there in the global community, and they having that deep appetite to enjoy that lifestyle but not provided with the opportunity to empower themselves economically. You have found the stress level of our young people continued to increase, and a lot of those young people have turned to alcohol and drugs as a means of escaping their dark realities. But there are a lot of those young people that really wants to make a turnaround. They wants to transform their life. They want to get off the alcohol. They want to get off the drugs. Some of those young people are depressed. They are frustrated. One of the challenges in a society that there is not an institution that those persons can go and say, listen, I am an alcoholic, I am a drug addict, I want to be cleansed. I know years ago we had the Carlton home, and years ago, and to date we have not made an effort as a country to ensure that there's a rehabilitation center for persons who wants to get off drugs, persons who wants to cope with depressions. For example, the only place here is a pink house, and that's when you really go to the next level and there is no return in most cases. What about in communities? Is there a space where young persons can go and have access to a counselor? Is there in all parishes, is there a specific department that you can go and say, listen, I am depressed, I am stressed, I am going through a lot, I need help, right? Could that address a lot of the social issues that continue to spiral? Had those persons have access to that sort of support system, I think that can reduce on the high level of social issues that our country is currently faced with. So what do you think that our policymakers, what stand can they take right now to ensure that those social issues is either eradicated or alleviated? And do you think that they are doing enough? Do you think the Ministry of Social Development is doing enough? Do you think the religious community, are they doing enough? Do you think the social partners of civil society, are they doing enough to help address the growing and alarming social issues that our country is currently faced with?
It's a very deep question, and you ask, Is government doing enough? Is policy makers doing enough? Is civil society doing enough? And I would come back to my point. This is a society problem. And every single one, instead of we pointing fingers, every single one have to be accountable. It starts from a family unit. You know, the family has a responsibility to instill good values in their kids. The community has a responsibility to ensure that the young people are groomed and mentored. I'm just going to use a story. I remember a time growing up, my mom would have shared an experience, childhood, where she would have said something and one of the neighbors would have flogged her. And they came back home to my grandmother, and my grandmother would have flogged her as well. And I'm not saying that we should beat our kids, but what I'm saying that same level of accountability we can use, whereby it was the responsibility of a community to take care of a child. And one of the problems I would say is that we have become too individualistic, and we have lost that community spirit. And that community spirit is important in terms of tackling the social issues and problems that our young people are facing. Can the policyholders do more? Of course, the policymakers can do more. You know, and I do hope that they can do more, that we can have stronger policies in place, that we can have support systems in place whereby young people can reach out to. But then again, we have to get to the root cause of this problem. And it comes back again to conflict resolution. It starts in the home. It starts in the community. And when it spirals outside of the home and outside of the community, then it gets into wider society. I can use a story growing up where there was this young man in my community. He was frustrated, unemployed, and instead of the community coming together and working with him, he mad, he crazy. You know, you'd hear terms as woman he wants. And next thing you know, this guy's end up in Monge. And he gets the injection and he's a madman for life. You know, and society fails. So I would not say that the government fails, society fails. The community fails. His family failed. You know, and we have to be accountable. Most times we put pressure on government, and government should solve every single problem that we are facing, and it is unfair. We have to be held accountable. The family have to be held accountable. The community have to be held accountable. And if we can solve some of those problems, I think that the burden on government will be less. Can civil society do more? Of course civil society can do more, but they're trying as well. But the people needs to take greater responsibility in themselves and their affairs. You know, and that lack of accountability and putting that responsibility onto government is creating a burden. You know, you have to be held accountable as a parent. You know, that responsibility to instill good values in your son or your daughter, that rests upon your shoulders. You know, but government can do much more. You know, but then again, society can do more.
So thanks for your points, and I really do believe that our viewers and listeners of our program will have a great appreciation for the valuable points that you brought forward. I just want to touch on a very important point: the socialization process. How we socialize our male versus how we socialize our females. And when you look in a society as at the greater level of deviant and violent behaviors, you find it's predominantly male. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact how we socialize our male versus how we socialize our females. For example, in a society today, if a male shows emotions or cry, the same society refer to him as being a sissy or soft, right? When a female cry, it's expected that she is a female. If a man come and he speaks about his problem, you say, man up. You know, be a man. Even your father, your mother, the people in the community, they will say, be a man. So what you find happening, a lot of men tend to bottlecock their problems. They bottlecock their problems. They won't come to talk to you about it, or they will not come to talk to me about it, or they may not cry about it. But as a female, she has a network, and it's okay for her to call her friends and say, this is what I'm going through. This is what I have experienced. If she cries, it's okay, it's normal. And what you find happening, because men don't have that avenue to vent, you find men walk around with their problems, their pain, they hurt from 10, 20 years ago. And you find the minute time something happens, it's like an explosion. And that person reacts in a violent and aggressive way, and that may cost them their life or their freedom. So we are losing our young men to violence and crimes. Many of our young men are winding up in prison. Not because that in some cases that they're actual criminal, but because there could be just one instance where they reacted based on everything inside of them, all the bad experience, all the hurt and the pain that is inside of them, that they have not had the opportunity to express. Do you think that as a society, how do you think as a society that we can provide that environment where as a man can feel it's okay to cry, a man feel it's okay to talk about his problem and express himself? How do you think as a society we can change that whole socialization process so that our young men or young boys can feel that, hey, it don't make you less of a man to cry, it don't make you less of a man to express yourself, or you don't make you less of a man to show emotions? What do you think we can do differently?
Well, basically, it comes to the definition. What is a man? And who a man is? And this question is a very deep question that you have to delve into your, I would say, your core and your identity. Because there are a lot of notion that is going around in society that you have to be macho, you have to be strong, you shouldn't show emotions, you shouldn't cry, and you should keep it all in. I was having a conversation with a bus driver a week ago, and he was speaking of a young man in his community who had problems in his relationship. His girlfriend was cheating on him. And he tried reaching out to a few of his friends, and instead of providing the support that he needed, his friends was laughing and making fun of him and giving him talk. Boy, you're getting on, you're crazy, your woman cheating on you. And this guy erupted violently, whereby he would have raised his hand on this young woman. And that is the problem that men are facing. Men are not networking. We are not our brother's keeper. Instead of providing the moral support to a brother, we will rather make fun and kicks on him. And the rum shop mentality where you have problems in your home, and instead of your friends supporting you, your friends would be making fun of you. And not everybody can handle this. Just a few years ago, I know of a young man who had problems in his relationship. He lost his girlfriend. His girlfriend decided to move on. A few of his friends started making fun of him, and he ended up killing the young lady and taking his own life. And should I point fingers at this young man stating that he's a psychopath and he's crazy? I point fingers at his friends. I point fingers at the community. There was a young man who is hurting. There was a young man that is in pain, and he needed someone to comfort him. He needed someone to talk to. He needed someone to provide that support. And instead of the support, he got criticism. He was made fun of, and he exploded. And then we read those stories on the news. Young man hang himself. Young man, kill his girlfriend. And you hear all sort of negative comments on the video. Hanging should be introduced. What about society? What about his community? What about his friends? What about his family? I think that they should be held accountable, because they would have seen the red flags. But what was done? nothing was done to provide the support that that young man needed. So I would say men right now, we have to come forward, and we have to have that serious conversation, and we have to redefine what a man is, and I just want to just make a point. My friend and colleague Cassandra Mitchell, she's launching a new initiative in terms of celebrating male brilliance and to appreciate men and to let them know that they're loved and to provide that level of support that most of the men are facing in our country, those who are hurting. And she's going to launch her initiative in the next few months. So I would urge all of viewers would join in and to provide support to that platform, because we need to have more round table discussion as men. If you had problems in your relationship, can we network with other men who had problem in their relationship, so we can sit down at this discussion table and share our stories and heal together instead of making fun? Let us grow, let us learn, and let us heal. And this macho, we have to get rid of this macho man stereotype. I believe you're strong when you express your emotion, when you cry, when you laugh, and you're liberal in terms of your emotion, because you know that your emotion does not make you less of a man, but it speaks to your strength. It speaks to you having that inner peace and that inner confidence to know who you are as a person. So you're not afraid to open up. You're not afraid to show your emotion. You're not afraid to be vulnerable, because that shows your strength. That speaks of your identity as a man.
And those are some of the conversations that most people hide from or astray from. People are not are afraid to really have those sort of discussions, right? And for as a young person who grew up in St. David's in the midst of the gang culture, I have learned something, especially engaging most of those young men during that period of time. You see, most of these young men never achieved anything much in life. They didn't go to school. Some of them never went to secondary school. Some of them was never told they're important. They were never told that they are valuable. They were never told that, they could achieve or become anything they want in life. And it was a group of guys with just searching for attention, searching for validation, wanting to feel belonging. And they came together and they formed that sort of gang culture. And I remember engaging some of those guys one time, and once those guys got a feeling of importance, or once they got the attention, and once they felt like they were appreciated, you saw most of these young guys just transform themselves. Remember, there was a peace march, and once those guys was in the public and the media was involved, and all kind of people was involved, and they got that few minutes of fame for the first time, being in the public and being in that sort of environment, especially with people that they would see as more important than they are. You saw that was a turning point for many of those young men. And if you look today, you see so many young boys are ending up in the Grand Bacalet, in the juvenile center. So many young boys. And I'm saying we could have learned from what have happened in the past during that gang culture period, and really take proactive step to ensure that our young men are appreciated. Young men feel that they're part of the society, even though that they would have made a mistake or they would have slipped through the crack. They must not be made to feel that they are nobody, that they're insignificant or they're worthless. And you would hear people in the community telling those guys, "You're worthless. You're just like your father." And you made a valuable point earlier on. We as a society are failing our young people. The way because that young man you told that he's worthless or he's just like his father, what do you think? You're helping to shape his identity. You threaten his self-worth and his self-value. And if he don't see himself as valuable, what do you think will happen? What will be his actions? His action will show. You understand? And I think today, more than ever, we need to have enough programs to really engage our young men and our young boys. We must begin to bring them together and provide them with that love and emotional support. And that is what I think it's important for us to have that program as the what Cassandra is launching. And I think that will be able to make a difference. But you mentioned earlier on, we need to have a collective approach in terms of solving that problem. Because if we take that collective and proactive approach, I see that we will be able to prevent a lot of the crimes and a lot of the social issues that are happening. I think we can actually prevent most of them from happening. So on the issue of alcohol and drug use, that has been a big issue in our society. So many of our young men and women have turned to alcohol. What do you think, as a policymaker, that our government can do to prevent the high level of consumption of alcohol and drugs among our young people, especially our teenage boys and girls? Because if you really look at the issue of teenage pregnancy, right, that is also associated in some cases to drunkenness. You know, young men, young women drinking, they get drunk, they have sex, and you understand the consequences. What can a policymaker do? Do you think we are doing enough to address the issue of the increased consumption of alcohol and drugs among our young people? And also, I would just want to bring that to your attention. A few years ago, I looked at I think it was a survey that was done in Richmond Hill, and they had asked the question: when you, at the time of committing your offense, which drugs were you under the consumption of? Alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, tobacco. What do you think was the main cause of most of the criminal offenses by those persons that took that survey? What do you think most of them was under the influence of?
Well, first and foremost, I would say alcohol is the pink elephant in the room.
It was alcohol. You're correct.
And we need to address the problem of, I would say, alcohol abuse. But then again, what is Grenada? Grenada is the land of the job. And what is the characteristic of the job? The job don't care. The job don't have no sense. When we drunk, if you listen to the quality of our music and the lyrics, it speaks to alcohol consumption. It speaks to drunkenness. And this is what is being played over the airwaves. And once you hear something over and over and over again, then it will be ratified into the mindset of the people. And the people will drink rum. Because when you go to the fete, everything is rum, 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 rum. And is it a problem that is isolated to Grenada? No. If you listen to music right around the Caribbean right now, it's rum, rum, rum. And the people are frustrated. And one of the things used to hide that frustration or to bury their frustration is that of alcohol. You know, and we have a problem. And I would say, is the government sad that they have a society that is drunk? I would say no, because if your society is drunken, then I will believe that they will not hold you accountable, that you would be able to get away with a lot of things. So I would say that, you know, to the powers that be, they would pretend that there is not a problem of alcohol abuse. And they would like to see things continue the way they are. But the problem I'm seeing in the future, what happens when we have some of those young people start coming down with liver disease, liver cancer? Will our healthcare system be able to deal with this problem? This needs to be addressed. And it needs to be addressed right now. It is a problem. You know, sometimes you go to events and you see 14-year-old and 15-year-old drinking rum, drinking beers, and nothing is being done. In the schools, you have kids who are coming with their rum and drinking rum. So we have a society of alcoholics, and we love rum. Grenada is a rum society. And if anyone disagree with me, you're not honest, and you're a liar. We are a rum society. We love rum. And I will not run my mouth, because I'm going to be real as well. I drink occasionally as well. I mean, Rivas is my favorite rum. I will not pretend that I don't drink. I drink as well. But I know my limits. And I have had my struggles in the past with alcohol. There are times when I have drank too much, and I would have, displayed some behaviors, I would say, that was very embarrassing. But this is a problem that I recognize that I had, and I had to deep within myself, to get over that problem, to deal with my real issues and my real frustration. Has it been easy? No, it has been difficult. There was a lot of soul searching. Is everyone equipped as myself to deal with that problem? I would say no. There are some people who fall by the wayside. But then again, is government the only one, the only party that can help solve this problem? Community, societies have to come together. We all have to come together to address the problem of alcohol abuse. Can we raise the legal age of alcohol consumption? Most definitely we should. And what's about the shops and the bars who sell alcohol to minors? Can there be stiffer penalties? Most definitely there should. And what should the penalties be for, let's say, parents who are not accountable enough to look at the kids, and the kids are bringing alcohol in school? Should we take that seriously? Most definitely. And we have to have that conversation. The schools, the churches, government, civil society, we all have to have this conversation. And should we point our fingers at one particular group? No. That is a problem that needs to be addressed by all parties.
Okay. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting. I told you. Folks, it's nice to see the mindset of a lot of our youth out there today, believe it or not. And by the way, just in case you missed any of their previous programs, there are 4 other episodes in addition to this one on the website, GrenadaBroadcast.com, and the archive section under Woke. Check it out. By the way, I was informed as she was walking out of here just a few minutes ago, Meschida, that she's going to be on the program. Yes, that young filmmaker you saw a little while ago. She's going to be on the program with these guys, this coming week. Let me take a little break here.
Start the stride to a healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carriacou on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis courts, and in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton Home.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy. We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada.
All right, time now for part 2 of that discussion, which took place just this past Thursday afternoon at 4.
You know, interestingly, you touch on some points that I know. I've just been looking at some of the comments, and I can see that a lot of people are commenting. People are really enjoying the discussions and the valuable points that is actually brought to the table. I just want to share some light on this, right? Because you see, I think there's a level of double standard in the society in the way we address issues. So, based on the survey that I told you, alcohol was one of the leading cause of the most of the criminal offenses that those persons said they were mostly under the influence of alcohol, basically, when they committed their criminal offenses, right? We look at a high level of road fatalities in our country and a high level of accidents, right? We look at a high level of violence against women, and most of these things are pointing towards alcohol. A man ordered his rum, he beat his wife, he beat his woman, he get up the next day, he said he was drunk, right? I have a serious problem that we have not taken a very firm stand to the high level of alcohol consumption among our youth when we look at the social cost, then the cost of society, right? As opposed to the firm stand we take towards marijuana. I have a serious concern about the double standard because you see, alcohol consumption has been responsible for a lot of social issues that is affecting our country today. And you mentioned earlier the long-term impact, not just to the society, but even on our personal income. Because when you have so many people coming down with cirrhosis of the liver and other health issues associated with alcohol and drug consumption, we as taxpayers will have to subsidize the huge healthcare bill, because in most cases these people are coming from homes in which they are living in poverty. They're coming from homes where they cannot take care of their basic commitments. So in the long run, the very few people who are doing well, who may have a good head on their shoulder, in the long run they will have to subsidize that cost. So I think we need to look at it from a very, very close angle. Some may argue that a lot of our people, especially young people, turning to alcohol and drug is a means of clouding their dark reality. They are going through financial pain. They are living in poverty. Some of them have lost their individuality as a result of globalization and social media and everything that is happening. Or young people just want to fit in. They want to be cool. And as a result of that, it's just an escape mechanism. But you made a very valid point. Our music culture. Look at our posters. When we look at our posters on the wall, everything that we do in our society promotes alcohol use and alcohol consumption and drunkenness. If you're a young person and you have friends and you all go together and they're getting drunk and having sex and doing everything else, and you're just there, you feel like you don't fit in. And many of our young people don't have that individuality. They don't have that strong self-image. So we have to protect them. We have to protect them. The music, the whole culture that we have built around alcohol, we have to change that, because young people do what they see. They do see what is popular. So I think as a responsible government, a government that is responsible, will see that as a serious issue and take decisive action at the policy level to ensure that that level of drunkenness, that huge consumption of alcohol among our young people, do not continue to impact a society in a negative and destructive way. Because in the long run, a society will all have to pay that huge price. So I just want to ask you now, as if you were the Minister of Social Development right now at this time, recognizing the huge consumption of alcohol and drug among our young people and the social impact and the long-term cost of our healthcare system, what would you do right now as at a policy level to address that?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to piggyback on one of the things that you said earlier, and in terms of the major, well, the drug of choice before young people would have committed crimes, and you said it would have been alcohol. I remember a couple weeks ago I had a conversation with Mosquito Man on his program, and we had a conversation surrounding marijuana. Not to shift from your question. And I asked him, I said, imagine you have two groups of young people in a dance. You have a group that is drinking rum, and you have another group in a corner who is smoking marijuana. Who is most likely to get into a fight? Who is most likely to assault someone's woman sexually? And we both agreed. It was the group that is drinking. And when you look at I would say the policies in place in terms of against marijuana, probably we may need to take a similar approach. A similar approach in terms of alcohol. As I said earlier, I think that raising the legal drinking age is a policy that we need to look at. I think that enforcing stiffer penalties against shops and bars who sell alcohol to minors, that's another step. But I also believe, once again, engaging all of the stakeholders in society and bringing them at that table, and also going into the schools to meet the young people. I think that is important, and also coming on the block, meeting the young people on the block as well and having that discussion. So I think that there are a number of dimensions we can attack this problem, and I do not see it as being one dimensional, and we want to meet every young person at their level. Because what's about the young people who drop out of school? How are we going to reach them? And we want to reach them on their level, and I say society as a whole, everyone has a part to play in this problem, and as Minister of Social Development, I will bring everyone at this discussion table and invite everyone idea to solve that problem, and even the young people as well. And I would get, success stories, other young person or people who would have struggled with alcohol consumption and who have made that major leap in terms of putting alcohol aside and changing their life. One of the issues I want to evolve this conversation. What's about the legalization of marijuana? And this is an issue that we need to address. When we look at the trend that the world is taking right now, there are several countries around the world who would have legalized marijuana and who are benefiting from the medical marijuana, I would say, industry. What is Grenada doing? Are we lagging behind? I think that it is time we unmask the boogeyman. It is time and research is out there. We are seeing the health benefits of marijuana. And it is time as a nation we ask that of our leaders to come together and to have this discussion. Because how many of our young people are being biased right now for marijuana? Many of our young people. For all that a lot can argue is harmless. We cannot continue to support that. I think that it is unethical for we to support that, to have our young people's lives being ruined. Whereas you have several countries around the world who are making billions. And we know Grenada, we're of limited resources. And some would want to pay the moral card. But what's about the religious community who is supporting Blast? Blast is in every community. and it is gambling. And I hear no outrage about it. I would have listened a conversation two women was having pertaining to blast, and one said that she spent her entire salary and she did not have any monies to take care of her kids, and she felt low and she felt depressed. And that is another problem in our communities. But we must address every political organization, every civil society, I would say, organization. We have to address that issue. And look what is going on. St. Vincent is killing Grenada. I am not an economist. I'm just throwing a figure out there. But I show that every year our economy lose more than $200 million every year in terms of the illegal trade of marijuana to a particular Caribbean country. I will not name the country. And the amount of resources that is spent into fighting marijuana, I would say, does not make sense. Let's get the young people who are affected. Let us build the farms. And we have to do that for our young people.
And I want to support, some of the points that you actually make. I think the whole conversation as to the approach to marijuana. Marijuana, in my opinion, a few years ago I was asked by the CARICOM Secretariat to sit on the Marijuana Commission to look at as a CARICOM region how we approach marijuana, and I think it's really important that the conversations be held. I know from a political point of view, a lot of you find the politicians, they would play the political game because you see the influence that the churches have, right? They want to keep the churches very close, but I think even the religious institutions, they need to get involved in the whole conversation, because from a health perspective, our country can really benefit from that. But you were making a point earlier on, Marcel, and I think that was a very, very interesting point. You go to political rallies, and I remember looking at a few of the political rallies, and everyone, most I wouldn't say everyone, but most of the people leaving that political rally was drunk. I actually looked at one on television, and mostly everyone leaving that political rally of that specific party was drunk. And I asked myself the question, were these people there to listen to the plans and program of that party if they win the election? Or were they there just for a carnival-like event? As a people, I think we need to take responsibility. Because if you were there to listen to the plans and programs, and you listen to the plans and programs of the other political parties, you will be in a position to realize which one of the political parties have the best plans, programs, and policies, and support the party with the best policy plans and programs. It's unfortunately our people don't make decisions like that. So we support a political party, we go to the political rally, we get drunk. If they say tomorrow morning, we will be drilling oil and gas, and everybody say yeah, without even understanding, what is really the whole process in that regards.
Yes.
So I think our people need to become more critical and analytical, but I think alcohol is actually robbing people of that ability to be critical and analytical.
I would share a story. I remember during the election period, I went in Grenville. I went in Grenville to get a lunch, and I overheard two women speaking, and she was saying to the next one, "Girl, I enjoy myself. Girl, I drink rum. Girl, I wine. And then in the next breath, she was complaining, saying that she has medical issues and she needs to take some tests, and she's not able to pay for that. So in one hand, you're in a rally, you're drinking, you're whining, you're having a good time, and that same political party, who is the party that is in power, who is in government, is not providing the help that you need to take care of your health. We all know of the issues that are affecting the people in terms of the hospital and our health care system. But these same people do not have a problem with that, because when they're in the political rallies, it's carnival, it is mass. You're drinking rum, you're having a good time, you're whining. You don't care about healthcare. You don't care about agriculture. It's a carnival and it's sad. It is sad in 2018 or in this current time in time and space that instead of we taking elections as just being carnival, instead of having the serious conversation and holding political parties accountable. Political parties can just show on rallies and carnival events and capture the imagination of the people. Look at the past election, the party that was able to bring out, I would say, more international artists would have won the election. And the people just wanted a place to go. They just wanted to line. And they did not view the last election as being critical and as being important. Look at the issues that we're facing. A $1 billion trade deficit, high cost of living, high taxation. These issues weren't important because we were drinking rum and we was whining. We saw Rum and Vogo and a lot of big Jamaican artists. And look at what we are facing right now. And as my grandmother expertly said, so you make your bed, so you go lie in it. And that is what the Grenadian people are lying into the bed that they have created politically. We had an important opportunity to make an informed decision and we failed. But then again, recognizing that you made a bad decision is important, and it is a positive step in towards making a better and a more informed decision. And I believe woke is that baby that will grow into I would say a mature system whereby our young people would be informed, and 5 years on in 2023 we will have that difficult discussion. We will ask the hard questions of political organization. We will hold them accountable, and we will know what we want as a young people. And if we were to network, if we were to organize into one single voting block, imagine the amount of power we would have, where we can dictate to a political organization and state that we want this and we want that. We want more opportunities. We want more access to financing in terms of small businesses. We want more scholarship in the area of engineering. We want more investment in terms of agro processing. Imagine that. And as Malcolm X said, I'm gonna quote Malcolm X again. He stated that we're not outnumbered, we are out organized. Joel, I'm seeing there would have been several viewers that would have commented.
I just wanted to touch on.
Like you to touch on a few of
Yeah,
those.
so Devon Roche, he said great points, guys, regarding men and what it means to be a man. This is much needed discourse. Time for society to confront this. Miranda John said great discussion. Donna Joseph, yes, young man, you're a beacon for a lot. Continue to reach out. Continue to hold such forum. Somewhere someone is listening. Aki Wawa said, sadly, a lot of our men are caught in a trap of masculinity that robs them of their very humanity. But men can teach men, as you are doing. Donna Joseph said, our government needs to create the avenue to include our young people. Andrea said, exactly, creating programs that our young men, positive alternatives, keeping them out of trouble, helping reintegrate those who are re-entering society from incarceration, and keeping the rates of recidivism low. Someone said, McMahon said, Drunken Nation. Brian Grimes, Marcel, as a music and soca enthusiast, how do you view the glorification of rum drinking by our most popular soca acts and the transferable negative implication on our impressionable youth? Do you think these soca acts should rethink their messaging? I think that's a very good point. I would like for you to shed some light.
That's a very good point, and I think most definitely, we have to be more accountable. As an if you're an established soca artist, I don't think that you have already built a following. You have a firm fan base. So it's not like you're trying to break through, so you would just sing anything to gain popularity. You're already popular. You already have a fan base. So I think that the messaging should be a little bit more positive. And as a soca artist, so probably you're looked up to more than even a politician. You're influential in your communities. And if we can have positive messaging in the music, I think it will help our young people. So can we have a prominent soca artist come on board in terms of the conversation, in terms of alcohol abuse, and promoting songs that is positive, promoting songs that speaks out against the abuse of alcohol. And I think that this can be done. We have several musical ambassadors. Can we bring them on board? Can we bring them on board? To be a part of this discussion. And I think that the soca artist has a very important role to play in that conversation. And in terms of the quality of music that hits our airways, is there any strong structures in place? Because I'm just gonna stray away from this point. A few months ago, I was traveling on a bus from Grenville, and when I listened to the quality of music that was on this bus, it was very, very sexually explicit. And there were 11-year-old and 12-year-old girls on the bus singing those songs word for word. And I had a problem. I had a problem that bus owners is able, to get away with playing those music to our young girls. And then when the young girls engage into sexual acts, society wonders, well, where did we go wrong? We went wrong with having those music played on those bus. We have it and on the radios as well. There are a number of radio stations who claims to be number one radio station, but listen to the quality of music that they are playing. They're promoting sex and violence. And when our young people get involved into sex and violence, society rides the moral horse, and they pretend that they don't know what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with our young people. They're involved in violence, but that is the music that is playing on the Boss FM, and the Fresh FM or whatever FM. That is the music that is being played. And music is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So there has to be a strong level of accountability, Joel. That is important. And it's not only government, but every social player.
And I think what you're saying is cool. There must be that social collective social responsibility, but the truth and the fact is, especially our young professionals, I think we need to get more involved. We have young professionals in different areas, and I feel one of the challenges that because some of the young professionals had to take student loan, go off to study and get their education, and they come back, right? They don't see it that they have a responsibility to the society, because they're saying, listen, the society has not done anything for me in terms of providing me with my education. I had to take a student loan. So you may ask a young professional, let's get involved in this organization, let's serve here, let's do that. And you find that you're not able to get them on board. They are caught up in their own web of pursuing their own selfish ambitions and their own dreams. what appeal would you make to other young professionals who may have the expertise and the influence and the network? What advice would you give them to use that expertise and network to drive positive change and positive behaviors among our young people? What advice would you give to them?
Well, I would say that, a life that adds value to the community is a life that is worth living. How has your degree impacted your community? Have the young people in your community more intelligent? Have you been able to transfer some of your skills and some of your knowledge and your talents to them? How has your parish benefited from that knowledge that you would have acquired? You may state that you have done it on your own, but what's about the teachers that would have sold into you? What about society? Society had sold into you. And you are a product of society and teachers and your parents and your family members. But how do you now sow into other young persons? And you have a responsibility as a Grenadian citizen to give back to your community. And you may say that what is the country doing for me? But what can you do for your country? Are you the people that are waiting on a fish, or are you a fisherman? And can you teach other young person or other people in your community to fish? So I urge the young professionals to come on board. You have a very important role to play in our society, and you should not see yourselves as outcasts. But your hands are needed on deck. Your hands are needed on deck, for the ship Grenada to sail,
Well, we are coming to the end of a very, very interesting discussion. I think most of our viewers and listeners will agree. I just want to thank everyone who took time to comment and who took time to view our program. I just want to leave you with a few words. As my friend said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what together we can do for the betterment of our country. Grenada needs every one of us right now. Our country is faced with serious economic, social, and political challenges that warrants all hands on deck. The future of this country is at stake, and I am appealing to all and every Grenadian, whether you reside at home or you reside in the diaspora. Thank you for tuning in, and see you again next week.
Oops. Got caught napping. Thank you very much, Joel and Augustine. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here on Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock for the next edition of Woke. Spread the word. These youngsters are going to be around every week, 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. I also want to say thank you very much to a young lady who actually got this whole thing started. Her name's Renee Thomas. Renee, thank you so much. You pulled a winner here, girl. Good luck. Pilgrims, time to take a little break here, and then we will come on back and wrap it up.
Start the stride to a healthy lifestyle at the 2019 annual Pump It Up Family Fun Walk. There'll be more fun, more smiles, and more prizes for families and friends. Join us in Carriacou on April 7th at 4 p.m. as we walk from the Harveyvale playing field to the Hillsborough tennis court. And in Grenada on April 28th at 4 p.m. from the Montrouge playing field to the National Cricket Stadium. Packages cost $20 per person for up to 2 individuals and $15 per person for groups of 3 or more. Come out in your numbers to help us raise funds towards re-establishing the Carlton Home.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Boy, yo, they gonna fly with kite now. The wind picking up. I'm coming. Karim, what you doing? Fly my kite. Yeah, but not here. You can't fly kite near power lines, boy. Why not? The wind good. Because mommy say kite threads conduct electricity.
Yeah, kite. He's right. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, it can cause power outages, or even worse, it can get shocked.
Come, they gonna fly them in the pasture. Yeah, that makes sense.
Kite threads conduct electricity. Do not fly kites near overhead power lines. This can lead to electric shocks and power outages. If your kite gets stuck in power lines, do not try to retrieve it. Release it and call GRENADA'S. Always fly kites in open areas. Keep your kites far away from roads. And remember, always clean up after yourself.
GRENADA'S, energizing our Grenada.
Margaret, how did you get there? How did you get there? Can't figure it out. Pilgrims, time to pull the curtain down, but we're going to leave you with a parting word, something inspirational. Comes from the book of Acts, Acts chapter 4, verses 33, 34, and 35, which says, "And God's grace was so powerfully at work in them all, that there were no needy persons among them. For from time to time, those who owned land or houses sold them, brought the money from their sales, and put it at the apostles' feet, and it was distributed to anyone who had need." Acts 4, 33, 34, 35. But dear friends, as I depart to go feed my face, I'm going to thank you for joining us this morning, and also extend an invitation to join us every weekday morning this week, 9 o'clock until 10, for Good Day Grenada. Until such time, may the good Lord bless and keep you.